ChatGPT is more than just a chatbot. It is a tool that can help you save time and be more productive in your studies or profession. And so in this video, I want to show you the 5 things that I personally use it for every day as a product designer who works in tech. I also briefly go through the technical features in this video. So if you don't care about those, feel free to skip ahead to the relevant sections. So let's get into it. Part 1. Language learning. As an immigrant living in Germany, I find myself in a situation where I need to learn German constantly. I mean, whenever I am out grocery shopping or trying to book a doctor's appointment or simply having a conversation with my wife's family, I use German. Now, since I have a full-time job and other stuff to do in life, I don't really have much time to learn the language, so I turn to Chat to help me learn German quickly. For example, I asked Chat to teach me basic German phrases to use when grocery shopping, and the response was pretty helpful. It gave me phrases like "Where is the cheese?" or "Do you have any milk?" which are simple but effective. The great thing about Chat is its ability to give examples, which is what I love about this response here, and so I asked it to explain the difference between ist and im, which are two different German words that I often mix up. ChatGPT broke down the meaning and usage of each word with clear explanations and examples, so I learned how to use them correctly in a sentence. Another thing I do is asking Chat to translate and explain idioms. So for example, here I asked it to explain the German idiom jemanden auf dem Zangeeffort haben, which means to lead someone by the nose. And then it not only translated the phrase but also provided the literal meaning of the idiom and its figurative meaning with an example sentence. It's amazing how easy and fun Chat makes the process of learning a new language. And you can apply this to any language you want to learn. You can make Chat teach you phrases related to travel, business, or everyday life. You can also ask it to correct your pronunciation or grammar mistakes. Overall, if you're learning a new language, I highly recommend you check out Chat. Part 2. Productivity. For students and office workers, Chat is a productivity booster. Here are some ways I use it. First, I use it to edit and polish my text to make it clearer and easier to read. For example, here I asked Chat to edit this paragraph from one of my scripts and it rewrote it in a way that is much easier to understand. It removed unnecessary words, simplified the sentence structure, and made sure the tone is appropriate for the target audience. Second, I use it to summarize long reports or articles, because sometimes I don't have time to read everything and I only need the key points. For example, here I asked Chat to summarize this long tour podcast episode on AI safety and it did a great job outlining the main points. Third, I use it to brainstorm ideas for projects or presentations. For example, I asked Chat to give me ideas for improving the design of a mobile app, and it suggested a bunch of things I had not thought about before. Fourth, I use it to draft professional emails or messages. Sometimes I struggle to express myself in a professional setting, especially in a foreign language. But with ChatGPT, I can easily get a format for leaves or even write an entire message in the right tone. Fifth, I use it as my learning tutor. For example, I ask it to explain complicated concepts step by step as if I were a beginner. Part 3. Technical and developer features. If you work in tech or you're a student, this part is for you. Chat can do so much more than just chat with you like a human. It can also help you code faster, debug your code, analyze data, write apps, and much more. And so here are the 5 things that I use it for as a tech worker. First, I use it to generate creative content like writing poems. Okay, maybe not so much in my day-to-day work, but still. Second, I use it to write code in multiple languages like Python, JavaScript, or C++. For example, here I asked it to write a Python script that scrapes product information from an e-commerce website, and it wrote the entire code for me. However, sometimes the code might not work properly, and so you should always test it yourself, but it's a good starting point. Third, I use it to analyze data. For example, I asked it to create pivot tables in Excel to analyze sales data and it returned the exact formulas I needed. Also, it can help with data cleaning, data visualization, and more. Fourth, I use it to help with API and system design. For example, here I asked it to design a system to track Uber drivers, and it outlined all the steps I needed to take and the components I would need to build. Fifth, I use it to generate documents. For example, I asked it to generate a PowerPoint presentation on the topic of artificial intelligence, and it generated the entire presentation with slides and bullet points. It can also generate documents in Word, PDF, Excel, or PowerPoint format. This makes Chat a real assistant for students in IT, engineers, and professionals who work with data or automation. Now I know that was a lot of information and you might want to revisit some parts. So let's quickly recap the things I mentioned in this video. Part 1. We talked about how to use Chat to learn a new language faster. Part 2. We talked about how to use Chat as a productivity tool for writing, summarizing, brainstorming, and messaging. And finally, in Part 3, we talked about how to use Chat to write code, analyze data, and design systems. So if you're a student or professional, I hope this video showed you how Chat can be a valuable asset in your academic or work life. And if you're learning a new language, I hope it gave you some useful tips on how to use Chat to reach your language goals faster. Feel free to drop any questions or comments below, and I'll see you next time.